Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is BryanCPSteele and I will be your nerd today and every other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. Alright, so today is going to be an interesting one. Got a couple of cool announcements, and then we're actually going to talk about, very specifically, we are going to talk about the starter boxes for the upcoming Warzone Eternal Kickstarter. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's do the week in Bryan, because this is where some of those announcements are going to take place. First and foremost, let's do gaming, personal, professional. So gaming, played the Waking Realms D&D homebrew last week. That was awesome. I'm playing at this point I think I'm level 12, 11 or 12, capoeira cat monk, tabaxi monk, and I almost died. I came up with this idea where we're hunting this giant sandworm a la Dune that had eaten an artificer's battery, that we need the battery, and I come up with this idea that I'm going to, we're going to find a way to get inside the worm, because I don't know, in the back of my head I really wanted to somehow find a way to have like a game inside of the worm. I don't know, call me crazy, whatever. Obviously I was crazy. So we got out there and we got into the situation where we were fighting this thing, and I finally got into a spot. I mean, now at this point I've been hit several times. We find out that it's got this like these furnace runes on its outside that blows fire. I mean, like, it's gnarly. And I get into a situation where I can get eaten. And everybody, it's been a long-standing thing that my character's half crazy, and as long as he goes out trying to do justice and his name will live on forever, that it's worth it. And so I got myself swallowed by a giant worm. Contrary to popular belief, no matter how big the worm is, if your DM has rules for what happens when you are being swallowed, you got to abide by those rules. And so I took an astronomical amount of damage, a bunch of fire damage, nothing I can do. I'm just sitting here being cooked inside this worm. And it gets around to my turn. Now, keep in mind, I had like 9 hit points left in me. I was the minimum damage on the following turn. This thing would have baked me alive. There's no question. I'm sitting there, and I've been kind of planning this for a little while, but not in this instance. So way back when, we were like level 2, we hit this like crazy alien artificer palace thing in the frozen wastelands, and there was a bunch of like technological weird stuff that a lot of us grabbed. And over time, we've learned what some of this stuff is, and some of it's as easy as, oh, this little canister basically blows up like a fireball. Okay, cool. But there were 2 gas canisters, like pressurized canisters filled with like green gas, that during the original fight, so like a year and a half ago, one of the canisters got cracked open, and the bad guys that were nearby, our DM had them basically turn black and die. They got, so it was definitely some kind of horrible poison. And so I noted in my equipment that I had this horrible poison canister, but I didn't know exactly what it did. And I just basically was like, you know what? I'm going to hang on to it. And then a couple levels ago, I got the purity of body that allowed me to be immune to poison. So I'm like, oh, cool. I had been planning to like run into a group of bad guys at some point and like open the thing and be like, bathe in all my grossness, and let them. That was my concept, was use almost like a toxic smoke grenade and then fight in the grenade. That was what I thought of, and then I get swallowed, and I go, what's cooler than punching your way out of a giant sandworm? poisoning it from the inside. So I get in there, it gets around to my turn, and Micah, that's our DM. Micah goes, "So, what are you doing? You gonna try and escape?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "What? Okay." And I'm like, "I'm going back to my unnamed toxic canister from session 3, and I'm breaking open the lid." And the rest of the players go crazy. They're like they're all laughing and they're like, "Oh my god, what are you doing?" And Micah goes, "Hang on, I gotta look up what that does." Because again, it's all in past game notes from like a year ago. So he looks it up and he goes, "Okay, and he's like, "All right, well, he gets a saving throw." And I'm like, "All right." And he's like, "I'll give him disadvantage because it's inside. It's inside his body." It's like, "All right, cool." And of course, he blows the save. It ends up being apparently like a canister full cloud kill or something, and it does a ton of damage. It does enough damage to trigger his. Apparently, Micah had written that if he did like 30 or more points of damage from the inside, he gets to make a saving throw to see if he chucks up whatever's causing him this discomfort. The saving throw fails. I mean, these are all open rolls. Like we're watching them on the Roll20 screen as they go, and so I poison this thing from the inside. I get thrown up out of like I'm suddenly a part of worm vomit. Spit out onto the sand, and then the next person to go does like this super crazy mega crit, and ends up killing the thing. So. And apparently he only killed him by a handful of points. So my poison is what brought him to that point where, the guy could come in and steal it. It was really cool. Everyone's like, "Hey, all right," the post combat celebration, dun, 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 dun. We were all kind of, "How is everybody? This guy's taking some damage. This guy got hit with the fireball. This guy, that sort of thing." And they're like, "Choco, that's me. Choco, how you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm almost dead." So it was neat. So one of the things about 5e D&D is that when you get past like 10th or 11th level, it's really hard to challenge the players. It's really hard to threaten them without being that DM, being like, "I've made this so it goes up against everything you can't do." But just like with a straight up adventure, it's pretty hard to do. And Mike is doing a really good job of keeping us on our toes, but not making it feel like, "Oh, there's just nothing we can do." It was awesome. It was a really, really good session. And now we have to figure out how to get inside the worm and find this battery on the sand, knowing there are more worms out and around. So we'll see. It was a lot of fun. Aside from other gaming, or the other gaming that I've done, I just last night I guest starred as a Phantom Ranger, kind of show up when I need to help her. I was basically a good guy MacGuffin on a Twitch stream for the Masters of Rem Twitch. They have they do a lot of Power Rangers playing over there, and a while back the Game Master John reached out to me and said, "Hey, I would love if you could find time in your schedule to drop in on one of our games." And not only did I have a fun time, he's running a different kind of game. He's a little fast and loose with some of the rules. And they've got a lot of stuff that if you're a subscriber, you can like spend points, tokens, and stuff to like have the characters do cool things. He's doing a lot more stuff with the Sentai side of stuff, which is not how we designed the game. But his players are having a good time. I had a good time. He's having a good time. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun. I know, because the kind of character that we've made over there for me, I will probably hop in, down the road. I'll show up again. I'm basically going to be like the recurring MacGuffin of, "Hey, I'm here to help." But it was fun. I don't get to play Essence 20 games very often because I'm its creator. So or one of its creators. So I get to run those games, but no one really runs them for me. So that was a lot of fun. I look forward to being able to sit in on another game in the future, whether it's that one or a different one. It was just all around a good time. What made it extra special for me personally is getting into this game. I did not know that that this particular like Twitch channel, that they have like 7 dedicated Power Rangers games between them. You know, one of the players, she plays like she like runs 4 different Power Rangers groups every week. You know, like it's another guy says he plays in 2 and runs one himself. It was so flattering to hear them say such unbelievable nice things about Essence 20, and to have them say, you know, this is their new favorite system, and it's not even just because it's Power Rangers. Like, they actually love the system itself. It means a lot to a game designer to hear that their stuff is loved. It means even more when someone basically says, you know, this has become my new favorite thing. It really did mean a lot to me. So if you guys I don't even know if you guys watch, but if you do, thank you so much. Especially in light of upcoming events, it meant a whole lot to me. Other gaming wise, played a little bit of video games with my kid. I mean, I've been very busy trying to get a lot of playtest games in of Warzone to kind of tweak things before the Kickstarter. Designed a couple of things for Warzone that Alex does not need to know about yet. So, one of the things that I do, that I get caught in my head about something and go, ooh, what a great idea. And rather than just jotting it down and forgetting about it, sometimes I will get sucked in and just run with it. And so there are some creatures, or there's some units for Warzone that will probably not see the light of day for a year, if not longer, unless the Kickstarter does amazingly well. That I was very inspired, and I was like, oh my god, I really want to get these. I want to get these out on paper. And I ran a little me versus me playtest to see how the actual like dice mechanics and stuff worked, and they work really well. That's the hardest part about I'm gonna tangent. That's one of the hardest parts about being a game designer, is when something you do and create and you get it done and you go, oh my god, that is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And then you test it out and it works exactly like you want it to, and it's so cool and it's so entertaining, and you know, it's fun, and you can't wait for players to get their fingers into it, and then you look and go, it's going to be 2025 before they see this. That's the hardest part about, but one of the hardest parts about being a game designer is knowing the cool stuff that's coming, but knowing that the players have to wait to get it. Because, you know, time is what time is, and we're dealing with that a lot with Essence 20 right now, is because there are several books that are done, manuscripts that have been turned in, that are probably not going to be out for a long time, but I desperately want to know how the players are going to react. You know, just seeing how people are enjoying the stuff that has come out recently, you know. And then hearing the fans say something and go, oh man, that's going to be answered in a book 3 books from now. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, but that's me gaming in a nutshell. Painting, still working on a commission full of goblins for a client. Probably going to work on that a little bit this week, or this weekend. That's really all I've got for painting-wise. I probably should paint my Bauhaus demo set, because I plan on doing a local demo day in the next couple weeks, and I should probably put Bauhaus on the table. They haven't been on the table recently. Or maybe get my Capital done. I don't know. Either way, I need to get some more stuff painted. personal, so that was gaming. Personal, weight loss has officially started again. I went to the doctor last week, got my ground zero point. I had gained back quite a bit of weight since I did my first diet plan shift last year, but not as much as I thought. I had lost almost 60, and then I gained back about half of it. If someone were to say, "Hey, how much do you think you gained back?" I would have said I would have gained back almost all of it. It felt like I had. So that's good. You know, it's good that I didn't backslide as much as I thought I had, but I'm back, trying to get back into the thick of things. Convention season is going to make that harder. But a change to my everyday life coming around the corner is gonna help a lot. A lot. Let's see, what else? Personal life. My kid starts high school weightlifting next week. He's big into tennis. And he's doing tennis at the high school level next year. But his school does some cool like athletics based things for class credits, and one of them is if you've taken basically a course in the summer before your freshman year called Intro to Weightlifting. They teach you how to use the gym. They teach you how to use it properly for your sport that you're going to be going into. And he starts that next week. We've been to the gym before, and I've seen him lift before. It's not a big deal. Like, I'm not like wowed, like, oh my god, my little boy is going to be lifting weights. It's just, I'm going to try not to cry. I'm such an emo kid. My kid's almost in high school, and it knocks me for a loop. You know, especially the Facebook images pop up of him as a baby, or when he was a wee lad, when it was just me and him living in the apartment, or like there was a picture of him, like it was like his second grade picture day, and he had me give him a freaking mohawk, it was a faux hawk, but they had me like put a faux hawk on his head to go in for picture day. Just being a dad is easily the best thing that has ever happened to me in my whole life. Period. There's a lot of stuff that comes close, but at the end of the day, knowing if I knock on wood, if I got struck down by Zeus himself tomorrow, my most prideful creation, so to speak, is the fact that Connor has become such a wonderful little man, and I know that he's gonna be just something. He's gonna be somebody awesome. He already is, but he's gonna be more than that. All right, sorry. I've been doing a lot of soul searching lately, and it puts me in my emo spot. Let's see, what else? Personal stuff. I think that's really it. Natalie's, we almost have the state of Indiana recognizing her disability properly. It's almost there, which is sometimes governments make you just laugh. Just make you laugh. Like you got to laugh, or you'll laugh or you'll cry. Oh yeah. Back it up to gaming. I forgot I played Sal this last weekend too. My halfling drunk monk. I thought it was going to be end up being a prison break breaking out our dear friend the Onion. His name's Grunion, like Gustav Grunion or something. I started calling him the Onion from the very beginning. It's stuck. He got put into a tower because of being a suspected lycanthrope. And we were talking about breaking him out, and I climbed the tower because, nimble little halfling fingers. It was cool. It was a great session. We learned of a much larger plot, like grand scale, call forth the evil demon kind of plot line, that we are now apparently involved in. My particular character does not know if this is above his pay grade, but he has made friends in the group now, and he will go along with it no matter what. It was a good time. I don't get to play with my Indianapolis friends nearly as often as I'd like to, just because, life and everything gets in the way. So when I do get a chance to get together with those guys and gal, it is a really good time. We had a good time. And Albert, the DM, he's such a great guy, and he's a great DM, and he always, he's a great host. It's at his house, and he makes this giant spread of homemade cornbread and ham and bean soup, and there's no wonder why my diet doesn't go so well if there's lots of gaming. But yeah, so I forgot I got to play that too, man. Also, speaking of going back to personal, man, I'm all over the place. Going back to personal, I went to the doctor last week and got a checkup. My first time in 5 years to go just basically see how I'm doing. And they said, aside from my weight, for someone my weight, I'm very healthy. I'm actually in really good shape. Aside from carrying all that extra weight, I'm not diabetic. I'm not suffering any kind of kidney distress. All my blood work came back good, minus a little bit of cholesterol action. My blood pressure is good. Aside from the weight, I'm doing good. So that was a plus. And yeah, I think that's really it for my personal life and my gaming stuff, because I remembered about Albert's game. All right, so now the professional stuff. We all know that, I'm going to talk about Warzone here in a minute. We all know that Warzone is coming up right around the corner, and so we are full steam ahead on getting that to the point where it is ready to rock and roll. And this is where actually I do need you guys, need your help. I will put the address to the Kickstarter landing page in the description of the video. Please spread it far and wide. We're confident that this time around things are going to be great, but we want to try and pad this as much as possible. And the more eyes we get on it, the more people that we hear about it, the more people who tell their people about it, will really, really help us. Having a really nice, solid, right out of the gate, strong launch can make all the difference in the world, even in the eyes of the licensors. If they see that gangbusters beginning, they are more likely to let us do some of the, I don't say questionable, but some of the sideline stuff that we want to do as stretch goals, things that we want to do as add-on products that we need to get their permission for. Showing a really strong out of the gate, home run hit it will go a long way for us to be able to look at the licensors and go, hey, now we got all these people. We want to do a t-shirt add-on. We want to do, the Res Nova Warzone Eternal hoodies. Can we do those? We can't do that unless they give us permission, unless we work that out with them. And if we look at them and go, hey, we had 1,000 backers in the first 24 hours. Let's do this. Let's hit that button. So please spread the word. Yeah, tell your friends, tell your family. Tell your priests, I don't know. tell you're a representative of Cardinal Durant. My Shadowrun novel has been put slightly on pause because I'm kind of waiting to hear back. I had a really good meeting at Adepticon with the guys from Shadowrun, plus some other things involved, and I want to find out how that's going to go before I forge any further forward with that novel. Because I might need to change gears a little bit on it, knowing what's happening. Yeah, I don't know. I have picked up. I already talked about the painting commission. All right, yeah, I guess yeah, I know you guys are gonna be like, just spit it out. What's going on? So I have been offered and accepted a full-time role-playing staff designer position at Evil Genius Gaming. It's awesome. I'm going to get to work with and create in some settings that I cannot wait until I can tell you about. Evil Genius has already, there's already some announcements. I got a Kickstarter coming for, Kong Skull Island, Pacific Rim. We announced, I think that we already announced, like Escape from New York. There's some new settings coming around the corner for the Everyday Heroes collective game engine. But yeah, so what started off as just doing some scenario work for them has blossomed into a very good opportunity for me that I was offered, and I accepted. What this means is I'm going to be creating some unbelievably cool stuff for Evil Genius Gaming, and when I can tell you more about that, I will. Because, whoa, baby, do I want to be able to tell you about it, but I can't. Like multi-layer NDA action. Yeah, so I don't want to dwell on it, but whoa, baby. Yeah. But what that does mean, while I'm super excited and crazy jazzed about all this new stuff I get to do, I haven't had an actual like full-time staff position anywhere in like 6 years, so like it's pretty cool. This does not infringe upon my novel writing. This does not infringe upon my ability to create for Warzone, as that they are non-competing entities, and they don't take up my day-to-day nearly as much as writing like straight-up role-playing books and stuff does. What that does mean, however, is for now, for the foreseeable future, Renegade and I have to say goodbye. Obviously, I still love their stuff. I'm still going to play their stuff. I still have several books for Essence 20 that are written that haven't come out yet. So I love those guys to death. And we had a long bittersweet conversation about how this was going to go, basically through the remainder of April, because I technically will start as full-time staff over at AGG until May 1st. Through April, I'm still going to do my Discord office hours with my wonderful Discord Rangers and the Discordicons. It was not an easy decision. But I have to do what's right for my family. I have to do what's right for my personal success, and a really nice steady paycheck is a big deal. Things with Renegade had slowed down a little bit, with some of the changes in the back end and stuff. It is no secret there was a book that I had been planning for a very long time, that when we went to go write it, my involvement of this book was dramatically changed. So like some of the financial planning that I had for what I was, for a year ago relationship with Renegade was setting me up for something that currently the situation with the number of people involved and all the craziness, it just wasn't coming together like it was, and I was doing a lot of asking around for other work to try and keep things afloat here financially for me and my family. So while I will absolutely miss working on the amazing Essence 20 licenses and the stuff that I know that is coming down the pipe. That it made it very, very difficult to say yes to the new position, knowing what I would be missing out on from the old one. It's hard. It's really, really hard. I've never really been in a position before where I've never been in a position before where when I was looking for something else, that I was leaving something that I loved that much behind. More often than not, if I loved something that much and I was happy, I wasn't even looking elsewhere. And this was rough. This was a rough set of conversations I had with my wife. I did a little personal soul searching, and then I did some number crunching. And literally, I don't want to be like it came down to money, but it partially came down to money. It came down to what I was producing, what I was being allowed to produce, and what I would be allowed to produce with the new position, and it is what it is. I love Scott and Jordan and Kevin and everybody over at Renegade. I love them to death. Obviously they're not going to be rid of me because I still have like 4 more books with of Essence 20 that haven't even seen the light of day yet. Obviously I'm going to be lurking in the wings, just not as a kind of representative of staff anymore, a representative of that, furthermore creative consciousness. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to see those books come out and not want to like dive in and go, awesome, but I will. I'm sure I'll still be involved with the Discord and answer questions when I can, that kind of thing. But I look forward to hopefully people hearing this news and being happy for me rather than upset that I'm leaving my Renegade duties behind. And honestly, again, like I said, there's still several titles that were my babies that have yet to be born, so to speak. You still have many months worth of Bryan Steele Essence 20 stuff to come out. So if you're hearing this and you're super bummed out, know that that's still happening. But yeah, so that was my big news, is that I took this awesome spot with EGG, and really, really cool stuff to talk about in the future on that. But for now, until people higher on every food chain than me give me the okay to say anything about it, I've got to keep my lips zipped on that. All I can do is let you know that I took this position. Part of it was because of the projects that I am being offered. So stay tuned on that, because it's good stuff. All right, let's move on to the actual topic of the day. This is the longest week in Bryan in a long time, but there's a reason for that. So what I want to talk to you today about is we at Adepticon, we explained a little bit about the Warzone Eternal Kickstarter packages, and that basically right out of the gate, you're going to have the ability to get 7 different faction starters, and the faction starters are built specifically to be able to play competitively at a 30-point level. So the models that are involved in the starter set, you put them on the table. That is a competitive force to play at 30 points. What we did this time around is the faction starters are a mixture of 3 different unit types, rather than being here's 5 rangers and then if you want to buy 5 blitzers, and by the way, if we unlock this third thing, you can buy 5 Etoile Martin. Is now you get your faction starter. If you decide to go this way at the Kickstarter, it's a nice sampling of all 3 that play well together at that 30-point level. Also gives you a nice a nice footprint of what the faction can do right at the very beginning. Now, if you're someone who's like, I can't stand those skull masks on the Venetian Rangers, then no, I would say don't get the Bauhaus starter box. Get in at a lower level, and then as an add-on, as long as we unlock them, Cardinal permitting, that you would just add on the unit boxes that you want from Bauhaus, and then build your own army. Like I said, these are a good sampling of what the faction can do, and they play well together. We've been fighting these in playtest. In playtest, we've been fighting these starter boxes against each other for a year now? No, at least it's been a while. We've been fighting these. This has been, rather than playtesting individual units and be like, does this unit work? Is we've been trying to see are these starter boxes solid, and we are very happy with them. So we show you a quick little sample on the thumbnail. So these are my demo figures. So keep in mind that these are not the 100% done. There might be some tweaks to size and whatever. So here we have the Imperial faction starter box. Da 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 da. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So we have 3 basic trenchers. We have a Bloodbury Trooper, a Bloodbury support with a Southpaw rocket launcher. The leader of the force, we have a Bloodbury leader, or I guess sergeant if you want to call them that, a Golden Lion regular trooper, and a Golden Lion operator. That ends up coming up to 30 deployment points at that 8 models. And so what the way this works, the way building a force works with the new setup. So if you were a fan of Warzone Eternal the first time that we tried to launch, that we were telling you guys about this about a year ago, there's been a few tweaks and changes because we wanted to try and fine-tune this a little better for how we were seeing people try and play the game, how the playtesters were accepting this, and a little bit of future-proofing, knowing that, knowing kind of some of the stuff that we want to do. We wanted to make sure that we had room to grow, and so what you do is every force must have a leader. In this case, good old Sergeant Mulhaney here. He has the leader ability, allowing you to start the faction or start your force properly. Every leader, well, I shouldn't say every leader. Every leader will come with a support number. In the case of Mr. Mulhaney here, he has a support number of 3. That means that when you bring him, he also brings 3 support points to your pool. In the original version of the game, we had the support points be as a percentage of, you can have up to 10% of your force as in support points or whatever. We changed this up because it allowed us to create some different versions of leaders. So you've got some leaders that are less about the tactics and strategy, less about bringing additional weapons and support weapons and things to the game, but are better in close combat or better, more frontline. This guy's got an amazing gun and super grenades and all this stuff, so he might bring a little less to the table when it comes to augmenting the rest of your force. Whereas somebody like someone who is a kind of lower tier combatant, but a high end tactician, might bring extra support points for that same leader slot. We have made sure that all of the faction starters have the leader that comes with a faction starter comes with enough support points to cover the support options that come in the faction starter, because wow, would that be a big oops if we didn't. Like, I can't field my faction starter. Yeah, no, everything they're all legally fieldable. So you start with a leader, and then you fill out your deployment points based off of the different points that each person is worth. So in this instance, like a regular everyday blood beret trooper, hello, I am a blood beret trooper, is four deployment points. So if in a 40-point game, we'll say in a 40-point game, barring needing the cost of a leader, I could bring 10 of these guys to the game. Now, got to pay for the leader, means I'm probably going to bring only like 7 or 8. Oh, and I might need to leave some room for a medic or for somebody special. Maybe I'll bring 6 or 7. You don't have to. You could bring 1. Doesn't matter. You also can bring multiple leaders if you're feeling froggy. You're gonna pay the extra point to bring a leader. Yeah, you might have a pile of support points that you're not using, but the leaders do have slightly better stats. They are slightly better than a regular trooper. However, the real reason you pay for that leader is for the ability to augment your force. So you are probably going to take guys, if you're going to be a leader, you're probably going to take guys that they are leading or able to lead or able to like give you, for instance, support options like the Southpaw rocket launcher. So this is the Southpaw, or the Blood Beret Trooper is 4 points. The Blood Beret Support model is 4 points and 3 support points. So that sergeant, or that leader, that Blood Beret leader, when he comes to the force and says, hey, I'm bringing 3 support points, he can go ahead and go, I'm spending it on, the Southpaw's not 3, Southpaw's 2, sorry. I'm spending 2 of my support points on that Southpaw rocket launcher. Awesome. Leaving you with 1 extra support point to potentially spend on something else. So that is where you get you get some of that touch and go. Am I bringing somebody cooler? Am I bringing a medic? Am I bringing, in this case, am I going to spend it on an operator? That's how you build your force. Is you set your deployment point number, 30 for the starters. A nice small game is around 40, so you got a little bit of room to grow. Throw a couple extra models in there. 60 is probably going to be if you're really like, let's bring some toys. And anything over 75 until we start putting out big, like some of the larger point models, that's gonna be a long game. That's gonna be a game where you and your friend have said, all right, let's take the afternoon. But yeah, so that's basically how you build a force. The force composition is really easy. Gotta have a leader, and you gotta spend up. You can spend up to your deployment points worth of value. And depending on how many support points your leaders bring to the table, you can upgrade. You can basically buy certain models that cost certain support points. Easy peasy. Building a force is super simple in this game. You are not going to have to do major algorithms now, especially once some of the new units come out and you get some of the different cost things. You are going to have no trouble. where things become particularly interesting is when you start getting into some of the models that are leaders that can lead any faction, or not any faction, any type of trooper. Like, for instance, let's just say there is a big scary Algaroth demon-y guy. His leader might say all Algaroth. So that allows him to use his leader abilities on anybody he wants. He has support points that goes to anybody he wants. It's a really, it gives us a nice big open ability to build forces. Now, there are some models that you have limits as to who you can bring, that are limited beyond just the support point cost, and that's normally because they either are costed specifically to be rare, like their deployment point cost is lower in an effort to make them an attractive buy, but not so attractive that you're like, I want to take 6. So there are some limitations. Obviously, if we ever get into situations with actual unique models like Max Steiner, he will have a limitation of unique. Can only ever have one Max Steiner on the board. But it also allows us to, if we see during playtest that someone goes, yeah, the support point cost on this is fine, but if I just dump all my support points into having 2 or 3 of these guys, I'm winning most of my games. It gives us an opportunity to build in a layer of, okay, we get it, that's a really powerful figure. You should really only take 1 or 2 of those. And the way that the limit works is your limit stat basically tells you how many per leader of that type you can take. So there's ways around it, and if you really, really want to field a particular force, like I'm desperate to have a ton of medics, you're going to probably need a ton of sergeants to order those medics, but it's doable. It's absolutely doable. Yeah, so that's I don't want to get to, I don't want to, as with everything else pre-Kickstarter, everything is still possibly changing, but this is the current version of things, and the current version of things, I think we're about at the 11th hour, where we are really happy with where things are, so I don't expect very many changes in the near future. Yeah, so I hope I didn't confuse anybody yet. Let's go ahead and just talk about the different faction starters. So I already talked about the Imperials. It comes with Bloodbraves, Golden Lions, and Trenchers. Trenchers are the kind of grunt force unit of the Imperial faction. The Imperials, or the Trenchers, have the ability, that same ability that Undead Legionnaires have, called Group. And what that means now, so Group allows you to, they're cheaper forces, they tend to be cheaper models, but in an effort to show that if you've got, a wave of, a trench line full of these, shovel-wielding crazies, that you don't get to just sit there and out-activate your opponent. You actually, when you activate, you can buy however many trenchers you want, but when you activate as soon as you say, I'm activating this member that has the group stat, you will also choose X, basically up to X worth of the same type. So in the case of Undead Legionnaires, they have group 3. When you activate an Undead Legionnaire, you must try to activate up to 3, or activate 3. Now, if you have less than that, like you only had points and you took one Undead Legionnaire as a filler, he's going to obviously activate on his own. If you have 2, because you bought 3 and 1 died, then you're going to activate 2. If you've got 4, then you're going to activate 3, and then the next time that you activate an Undead Legionnaire, he'll be by himself. So I hope that makes sense. There are different group numbers. For instance, Trenchers have group 2. So in the starter box, you get 3 Trenchers. That means that if none of them have died, none of haven't used up their reactions or anything, when you activate a trencher, you're going to need to activate a second trencher immediately thereafter. And that's just basically to keep the game going back and forth rather than I move a guy, go. I move a guy, go. Oh, now you're out. All right, I moved my other 19 guys. So it is really about a game balance thing, and to keep that kind of narrative flow between the players rather than, oh, you move your one guy. All right, here's my 17, to make up for it. That's how group works. All right, let's take a look at the factions because I've been talking a long time. All right, so the Bauhaus starter. Bauhaus starter comes with a ranger leader. So your rangers, your Venusian ranger is the leader of the force. Comes with a Venusian ranger trooper and a Venusian ranger support model, which that is the gentleman with the heavy machine gun. Comes with a blitzer trooper and a blitzer operator. Operators are your tactical objective models. They tend to come with grenades. They tend to be good about area deniability. Sometimes they have a different weapon, like a different fancy weapon. But their primary thing is being around objectives. As long as they're around objectives, they actually get to react twice. That makes the operators particularly useful in most of the scenarios. And then to round out that force, you get 2 Etoile Mortant. That is the new unit that we're adding to the Kickstarter. Everybody loves the Angels of Death. They are fast, tactically sound. They're very good at of reacting to the enemy. They're lightly armed and armored, but they are natural gymnasts, and they can really... You can get them to where they're going pretty quick. Capital. The Capital faction starts with I'm reading off of the list, by the way. I'm going to move the list over here, so I'm looking more at the camera instead of off kilter. So Capital starts with Free Marine leader. So that's your sergeant, or that's your force leader. A basic Free Marine support model, which I believe the Free Marine support model comes with... Oh man, I'm gonna look that up real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to remember what the Free Marine comes with. Might be a Gehenna Puker, which is an awesome flamethrower. Give me a moment. A moment. All right, here we go. We have Free Marine support model comes... Oh no, he comes with the D-Pat. It comes with another rocket launcher. So the D-Pat rocket launcher it comes with that starter kit. Comes with 2 Sunset Striker troopers and a Sunset Striker operator. And then comes with one of my personal favorites, a Martian Banshee. Martian Banshees are slightly more heavily armored jump troops. And one of the things that the Martian Banshees get to do that I absolutely adore is fly. Capital is very big about crossing distances in the, just suddenly being there to deal with an enemy. Martian Banshees are good at that. We've had several games where someone will have a Martian Banshee like tucked behind cover. No one notices they're there, and then suddenly they boom right in the middle of your forces. You throw in a monkey wrench and it works. Cybertronic faction starter comes with 1 chasseur a chasseur operator, and a chasseur support model. So it's got that heavy machine gun. Plus it comes with a Mirror Man leader. He's technically the leader of the force, and 1 additional regular Mirror Man. Plus you get 1 standard Attila 3 Cuirassier. The Attila 3 is one of the bigger models in the first wave. Actually, I think it's the biggest model in the first wave, as far as the starter boxes are concerned. And they can be armed in multiple ways. the way that the faction box, the one in the faction box, is just armed with a regular assault rifle. This makes him basically just a very big, tough chusser. There are other ways to arm the Attila. For instance, it can carry a heavy machine gun, or it can carry a flamethrower. So the starter box might only come with the assault rifle, but there are more on the way. We already talked about the Imperial box, but I'll run it down real quick. We already did. So Bloodbraid Leader, regular Bloodbraid Trooper, Bloodbraid Support Model with that Southpaw rocket launcher, regular Golden Lion Operator comes with that plasma carbine, and then 3 regular trenchers. The Mishima faction box is a Hatamoto Leader, a Hatamoto Soldier, a Hatamoto Operator. So your Hatamoto they've got good armor, they're great in close combat, but you almost want them to be there to accept the charge. You want them to deal with your they're the anvil of your hammer and anvil against Mishima. Now they're amazing in close combat. No, there's no question. Mishima's got a lot of really good close combat guys. But as far as the other troops that the faction starter has, the Hatamoto are your best shots. They're your best gunners. So you want to get them close-ish, unload with that stuff while your other forces are getting in there and but you also want to be confident enough that if somebody does come around the corner and decides to, try and charge you, that you have no problem cutting them down too. You get 2 regular Shinobi and a Shinobi Sniper. Shinobi are your sneaks. They can do small, short-range teleportation to get around terrain to avoid being shot at. They are solid troopers all around, but they definitely are they're your ambush force. And then you get a Shadow Walker. Shadow Walker is a cyber ninja. Not much else I can say about that. The Algaroth faction starter is led by a Centurion. Comes with 3 regular Necromutants and 1 Necromutant Tormentor. That's the one that's got the poison gas grenades and flamethrower. And comes with 4 Undead Legionnaire. So it is a nice, solid start for an Algaroth force. It's got a lot of good controllers to keep those zombies in line, and it is a great place to start building if you want to have big monsters in the future, because you've got several things in there that you could trim out to add in something like a Razid or a Nephirite, that kind of thing. And then our last faction starter that we added during the course of the last year of building things is the Brotherhood faction starter. The Brotherhood faction starter is led by a Fury Elite. So one of the things that the Brotherhood Brotherhood have that none of the other faction starters start with is they have a leader model that can lead any Brotherhood figure. So his leadership benefits can go to anybody. Whereas most leaders are, I am a Blood Beret leader, so I lead Blood Berets. Or I am a Centurion, I lead Undead Legionnaires or Necromutants. The Fury Elite is the first leader model that says, no, if you're in my faction, we're friends. So it comes with a Fury Elite, comes with 2 Mortificators, which these are baseline Mortificators. They are the ones that are equipped with the silenced pistol, with the Mortis Blade. They're battlefield ninja nightmares. And then it comes with 2 basic Sacred Warriors. Sacred Warriors are they're very good on the charge for close combat. And they've got kind of close-up carbines, so they're good in that mid-range. They want to get close, and hopefully, kind of shoot their way in and then charge. And then actually, we come with a Sacred Warrior support model, which has that same Avenger sword, but also comes with the Eruptor. The Eruptor is a combination light machine gun and flamethrower. It is the first model of its like in the faction starter wave. that has a gun that has 2 ways that it can be fired. Now, that being said, it is not the last, and there will be more of these weapons that are over-unders. You might get somebody down the road. We've talked online several times about how there is a special configuration of the Venusian Ranger assault rifle that comes with an underslung grenade launcher. Out of the box, our basic troopers do not have that. It does not mean that we won't add a grenade capable version later on that has that other way to fire their weapon. It's just not something that we wanted to put in the initial box because we're trying to keep things competitive and fair coming out of the gate. Giving one unit all grenade launchers isn't really all that fair, now is it? So that's the faction starters in a nutshell. That's as far as we are concerned. If nothing gets unlocked ever, we make no headway whatsoever. That's not going to happen. We know you guys are going to support us, and we're going to blast through some stretch goals. That's what those starter boxes are what's going to be available for the game. Now, what we want to do is we want to unlock unit boxes, which will allow people to add more and different kinds of variety to the units that are in these boxes. I mentioned that there's other models that might have different equipment. For instance, one of my favorite models is the Blitzer with the Gehenna Puker. The Blitzer support model's got a flamethrower, and it's awesome. He is not in the starter faction box because we already had kind of figured out that nice competitive level. But obviously, should the Blitzer unit add-on box get unlocked, that option will be in the box. So we're hoping that we'll be able to get things opened up and unlocked pretty quickly to get to more, I don't want to say traditional stretch goals, but to get to more things that you guys haven't heard about yet, some cool models you haven't seen. And we have been talking to some of our internal planning people to try and figure out maybe some ways to bump the schedule, so to speak, for particular things. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'm letting you know that when the Kickstarter goes live, there may be some things on there that you go, oh, what? That's my. I hope we get to surprise some of you, that it's not just that it's not just faction starters and it's not just unit boxes, that you guys will help us unlock some awesomeness and make this game really hit the ground running, is what I'm hoping. So, I know I'm running a little bit long, but today was a weird day. I had a lot of Week in Bryan to cover. And I hope talking about the faction starters makes you understand kind of where the Kickstarter is going to start things off. That we plan on having a very competitive price point with a little bit of a price break for the Kickstarter, because we want to tell everybody, hey, thanks for helping us get this thing started. And we've already discussed what cool retail pledges. So if you are a retailer, or if your retailer might be interested in carrying this line, our retail pledge system is going to be really, really, really good. One of our business partners is the owner of a very, very popular and profitable retail store in Boston. So he knows what retailers are looking for in pledge levels. So bringing him on board has helped us a lot to try and figure out what exactly we want to offer retailers who want to back us. And if you've got a retail store that you would much rather always buy through them, that kind of thing, give them our information. Send them our way, and when the Kickstarter goes live, get them involved, because that's going to help everybody. It's gonna absolutely help everybody involved. So. Yeah, I guess that's it for today. I don't want to go too terribly deep into more Warzone stuff and accidentally give away secrets that I'm not supposed to. So we're looking at, I think we're 4 weeks out, 3.5 weeks out. We're getting close, getting real close to the Kickstarter launch, which is May 2nd. It's going to be a Tuesday. Now, one of the things that I am hoping to do is that Tuesday is I plan on, from the point we hit go, at least for the next like 8 hours, is I'm gonna probably, that week's video, I'm probably gonna go live and basically be live on this channel to answer questions, to talk about talk about the Kickstarter as things get unlocked, is just to basically frontman the Kickstarter and help people get what they need to get, to help us get what we need to get, so we can unlock the most out of this game and get it off to a hell of a start right there out of the gate. So I'll put out more reminders and stuff through the channel and otherwise as we go. I mean, I know we're still almost a month out, so either way, it's that time. So please be safe. Get vaccinated, get boosted. There's still a lot of people coming out of conventions getting sick. Wear a mask if you have to, or if you're in a place where they ask you to, don't be a jerk. Yeah, just basically, leave every place a little happier than when you got there, and I think life would be better for everybody. But until then, we'll see you next week and play some games.